So I've been thinking about Piers Morgan's relentless, unstopping, never-ending 5-year attack on Meghan Markle, Meghan Duchess of Sussex, or just Meghan, okay? And I was wondering whether she might have a cause of action. I don't, on the English law, I don't know. Or even American law, I mean, who knows? It's always a question mark. That's why you have courts to sort of ask the question and let the court decide, for defamation and obviously for emotional distress, among other torts, because now that everything is coming to light in this mirror lawsuit that Harry is engaged in at the current moment, it has brought to light a whole other scenario, a whole other way of looking at Piers's behavior over the last 5 years. For example, he says that he and Meghan were friends and that the basis of his beefs with her is this friendship, that she dumped him very suddenly and very rudely and basically threw him to the curb as soon as she met Harry, right? So he has led the entire world to believe she's a bad person, she's a bad friend. Because it would be a bad friend who has a good friend, and as soon as they meet somebody else, they just dump the friend because they have met someone else. That's a bad friend. I mean, that's a bad person, right? I mean, he has painted an image of Meghan as being a really, really bad person. And the basis of that, I'm going to lose my batteries again. The basis of that is that Meghan is a bad friend. She's a bad person because she's a bad friend. And she's a bad friend because he and she were good friends, maybe even great friends, maybe even long-term friends, established friends. And as soon as she met Harry, she just dumped him, threw him to the curb, stopped returning his texts, stopped returning his phone calls, etc. And based on this, which has been broadcast throughout the entire world, millions of people formulated an opinion about Meghan that she is a bad person. And when taken in conjunction with other things that were being said about her, including by certain members of her family, Meghan really became public enemy number one, to the point that it seems that threats were made against her life, according to some certain members of the British police, like a former um, member of the British police force, and so on and so forth. The online harassment has just never abated for 5 years, and so on and so forth. And an argument can be made that people like Piers Morgan not only set that in motion, but continued to keep it going by reigniting that fire on a constant basis, by reminding people over and over again what a terrible person she was because of the terrible way she treated a friend. I think that's potentially defamatory, right? And I think it might be worth it to force him to prove this friendship. Prove it. You say I was a bad friend. It would mean and suggest that we were friends to begin with. We had a friendship over the years, right? That I violated by kicking you to the curb as soon as I met my husband. Prove it. And if you can't prove it, it means that you lied and you defamed me and caused me tremendous anguish and emotional distress and exposed me to physical and mental and emotional and psychological harm from others in the public. And your past conduct, quite frankly, where you participated in or knowingly used information from others who participated in the phone hacking of my husband, the same husband you claim that I kicked you to the curb as soon as I met him, would suggest that your behavior towards me was less than ethical at a minimum, if not outright unlawful. It is a continuation of your unlawful conduct towards my husband. You imputed this way that you treated my husband in this unethical and unlawful way to me by harassing me for 5 years and misleading the public into thinking that we were friends. We had a friendship when this is 100% false. And you continue to do it. So now I want this to stop. And frankly, I want $3.5 million for my emotional distress, right? I think Meghan should pull this move now, because the timing now would be perfect, and the objective is to get him to stop with the harassment, right? Get him to stop and to send a hard message, just like Harry's doing, that, she's not going to tolerate this anymore. She's not going to be their victim anymore, right? She's not going to cower anymore, right? There's going to be accountability for this kind of behavior. And not just for her, but for anybody else in the future who these people might be inclined to treat this way and who may not have the platform and resources that Meghan and Harry have to fight back. I think it's worth asking her lawyer. But poor Meghan, she's like, Marion, stop with all these lawsuits. But I mean, unfortunately, I think it might be necessary for her to do it. And I think the timing couldn't be any better than it is right now. Your thoughts?